Today we are joined by Joy, who is a trans widow. Joy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Joy. I've been a trans widow for a long time. The strange thing is when I became one, I didn't have such a word. I didn't even know such a thing existed. I went into a
How
black
long ago was it?
panic. I just didn't know which way up I was. I thought it was going to be front page news, and I vaguely recalled something on tabloid press about some man doing this, and I thought, oh my God, I don't know what's happening here. It was something of a shock, and I was pregnant at the time.
You were pregnant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came out on
And
his
so
birthday.
how long ago was that?
1986.
1986, right.
And I can
And it
tell
was
you
his
the date.
birthday. So you remember the date because it was his birthday?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Oh dear. We've picked a right date then?
Well, no, it's obvious because it's 9/11, so it's hard to forget.
Right.
N-
But that happened first,
Oh, yeah.
before the Twin Towers.
Yeah, what happened? We were going out
Yeah.
to dinner, and we didn't often go out. I had another child before that, and I was so excited and thrilled to be pregnant. I thought this was wonderful. I wanted to have another child. And we were going to go out for dinner, which was really exciting and interesting. We had a babysitter, and I got ready, and I thought, this is great. And he said, I'll be back in a minute. And because I was pregnant, I wasn't driving. So I got in the car, started it up, and he went back, and I thought he'd forgotten something. He jumped in, I'd started the car, started to move, and I turned to say something to him when we just got up the road. I wasn't looking at him, I was looking at the road. And I looked and I thought, what is it? What you're wearing? And he had this really pretty, well, a floral sort of blouse instead of the shirt I'd bought him, and a tiny little watch instead of the watch I'd bought him. And I remember driving toward a statue and saying, tell me what's going on, or I'm going to crash the car. I just went into total panic. Anyway, I don't remember much of the evening, and I don't remember how it transpired. I don't remember that I ate anything. We got home, and I was beside myself. I was absolutely distraught. I have big memory loss. I remember incidents rather than saying, but it reminded me that when I'd first met him, we did have an incident. But I didn't know
Okay.
what I was seeing.
Yeah. I was gonna say when you're going through trauma, you don't because your brain's focused on that surviving, you don't make new memories, so
I
that's
know.
probably why you can't remember.
I know. I
Yeah.
remember incidents, but I don't have a
Yeah.
sequence of events at all.
Yeah.
But when we first got married, never heard of trans, or I knew there were transvestites, men who like dress up. That's been known for centuries. But I'd never
Yeah.
heard of anybody transsexual, so I didn't understand. I was at work and I came home for lunch. I was only 20. And when I got home for lunch, he was there playing around with my makeup, putting it on. I go, oh my God, what is this? So I had to go back to work and thinking it through. And I remember thinking, is he a transvestite? What's going on here? But it was the 70s. When I got home, he'd recovered himself. And he said, look, I'm really sorry. I was just really bored. And I was just trying on a bit of makeup like, rock stars were doing.
Yeah.
And I believed it because I know, nowadays you probably say, oh, are you trans? Because it's so commonplace. Then I didn't know. I believed it. Absolutely.
Yeah. You just believe what he said.
I was too young. His
Yeah.
mother set me up.
What do you mean?
When I first met him, I was working in a factory and he was about to do a PhD. There was some difference here. Anyway, he took me home to meet his family, and his mother was really cold with me, really cold. And I thought, okay, I understand. I'm a factory girl. I'm not good enough for her precious son. I get it, sort of.
Yeah.
It's up to me to make her see that this is not right. And he said, well, actually, she didn't think you were nice enough to my sister, you know. And I'm thinking, I don't know that. Anyway, okay. I don't remember next too much, but this is very relevant. I didn't think about it. She got to like me, I thought. But on reflection, she never asked anything about me. It was
Uh-huh.
always about him. When we were going to move somewhere, sometimes I didn't want to go, and her husband would have goes at me until eventually I caved in. Silly me. But I did. We
To
got
go out
married.
on a date?
Hmm?
To
Sorry?
go out on a date? Were they badgering you to go out on a date?
No. What happened was that it just had a strange reaction, you know, and then we did get married, and she seemed to think it was okay. And he was looking at all these wonderful places we were going to go to for his PhD, and I was working factory. I couldn't give a monkey. I was quite happy to go somewhere interesting and exciting, and I thought, gosh, this is great. We're having, you
Yeah.
know, we're young, we can do this, we can do that. There are all sorts of things on offer. Eventually got offered 2 places, and we discussed it. One was a city and one was by the sea in a small place. And I was going to go and get a job. I wanted to do nursing, and I said, well, we agreed we'd go to the city and he'd do his PhD and I would start training. And I thought, this is wonderful.
Yeah.
Everything sounds fine, yeah? My mother was pleased. Everything
Mhm.
seemed okay. Ah, but he'd gone out and he thought, you know, I'd rather be by the seaside. This is nice. And he'd rung up and said, actually, I'll take the other one. And my mother said to him, that's not fair. You know, she was going, you know, this is ridiculous. You can't do that without reference. I know now that's a
Yeah.
boundary incursion. I didn't understand
Yeah.
boundaries. I do now.
Yeah.
Anyway, he tried to go back, and the first one said, oh, no, you gave it up. We're not having you. So
Mhm.
we go to this seaside place where I did lots of menial jobs, and he would spend an awful lot of time working at night. He was doing experiments. He was a scientist. So I was quite lonely.
Right. Mhm.
Um, then we were going to move, and we were going to move to the south after. Well, no, I retrack. I did my hires then. I'd left school with nothing. And I did my hires and did quite well and got into university, and I was doing my first year, doing well and loved studying. It was a new beginning. And then he came to the end of his PhD and was offered a job somewhere else. And him and his family went on and on and on at me that I was selfish and that I always knew that he was doing a PhD and I should have understood. And of course we were going to move for his job. I didn't want to go. I really didn't want to go. Eventually, again, I don't know anything about boundaries. I caved in and I went. And I managed to get a degree, but I went to a technical college. I didn't go and do the university degree. I did get a degree. And it went on from there. Something happened when we were there, but I don't know what it was. It's gone out of my head. There was some problem there. I didn't want to be with him. We had a rocky patch.
Right. Yeah.
But we resolved and we moved again and everything seemed fine until it wasn't. I had a job in London. He was working as well. And I came home one day and he'd been on a conference, I thought. Got home to see what looked like a female standing, someone with long hair standing on my doorstep. I thought, oh God, he's got a woman with him. You know, what's going on? It was him all dressed up.
Oh, goodness.
That resulted in a lot of, I nearly left him. I wanted to go, I wanted to run away. I didn't know what to do. I took marriage vows very seriously, but on the other hand, and on we went. And eventually, somehow we must have connected at some point. Don't remember how, but I found myself pregnant. And I remember saying to him, right, this is it. Well, I've no more. I didn't understand what I was dealing with. Why would I? I thought I'd just like dressing up again.
Yeah.
I'm not coping with this, especially with children. Forget it. I'm not staying if you do this. You have to promise me you won't. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Everything seemed fine. We moved again. I was happy with that. I gave up my job because I wanted to be at home with my daughter. That was fine. That wasn't a problem. We actually went to the first place I was going to go to that he rejected, but that's just coincidence. Everything was fine, I thought, until his birthday present. I had no
That was
idea
a birthday present.
when he dressed up and took me out to dinner that night. I didn't know there was any problem. After that, I remember. I don't know why we phoned his mother. I don't know whether I did, he did. Something happened anyway. I was on the phone with his mother, who said, I thought that was all over with. And then I realized that when I'd met him, he told me, when I'd met him, it wasn't me that was the problem. It was him. She'd found a case under his bed with pornographic magazines and underwear. It wasn't me at all that was the problem. And he'd lied to me and said it was me that was the problem. And it wasn't.
So she was quite cold with you because she was worried about the relationship because of
No,
him.
she was cold because she was angry with him. She wasn't angry with me at all. And the fact that he was going to marry a woman, she couldn't have cared. My status had nothing to do with it. Just, he's going to have a woman. Great, great. He's not a perv after all. That's her view. And so she let me think that I'd been the problem, and I never was. It was him. And there were odd, things happen, and sometimes hindsight, I know it's not right, but it's true. Sometimes you look back and you think, that was interesting. I didn't know it was interesting. I remember one Christmas he bought me a
Yeah.
beautiful set of really expensive underwear. And I'm quite utilitarian. I'm not a girly sort of girl. But it was very beautiful. I now think, he bought it for him, didn't he? It wasn't for me at all. And I remember once we had a motorbike. We didn't have much money. And I remember him coming to meet me, and he had pink tights under his trousers. And I said, what's this? Something must have made me remember the first incident. And he said, well, I didn't have anything else. It was really cold. And so it's gaslighting, of course, but I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I spent the rest of the time while I was pregnant with my second child, and he'd come out of the closet, as it were, trying to keep calm so that I didn't affect the baby. I was in a very difficult situation there. She was born prematurely, of course. But he then ended up with a psychiatrist and a psychologist. And he was in a group, I'm going to say it, in Edinburgh. And they get funding from the Scottish government. And they were running tea parties for cross-dressing men. So when he was going to play squash on a Saturday, was he heck? He was going to a cross-dressing tea party. There's quite a
That's
well-known
shocking
group
that
in
it's
Edinburgh.
funded by the taxpayer.
And there was a woman from there who used to come to the door while I was pregnant. Well, once he was out, just God, this is how it is. I've got psychiatrists. He'd already started taking hormones before his birthday. He'd got them online himself. Well, there wasn't online then, you see. Not, it was very early. He got them on his research grant somehow. So he'd started to grow
Yeah.
breasts. And this woman would come to my door and collect him to take him to lesbian disco, knowing full well I was at home pregnant. It's interesting how women treat other women so badly.
Yeah.
It was extraordinary. She would come and, and he was outraged when some of the lesbians didn't want him there. He was beside himself with anger. And I thought, well, I don't want you here now, to be honest. I knew instantly then that this couldn't go on. I just knew immediately. But we had to sit with this psychiatrist and psychologist who weren't there for, excuse me, they weren't there for me. And
No.
the psychologist, surprisingly, went to Canada. I don't know why I find that surprising. And I remember him saying to me that if I wanted to go, just go with the children, well, one child, and I just wanted to disappear. And he kept saying, well, if you do, you'll ruin the lives of your children forever. You can't deny him. You can't deny him. But I don't remember him saying to him, I think this is not a very good thing to have done to your wife. I never heard that
No.
said. And
No.
remember what year this is. This is very early. I had no idea I didn't know anybody else in the world was doing this. And what I think people don't realise is it was very rare. And it still is. It's just everybody has decided it's trendy or something to be trans.
Yeah.
It's not what people think at all. It's abusive if you're married.
Yeah.
Anyway, he took another name, and he knew that for me, my father died when I was 11. He was killed in a car crash. And he knew it was very important. Family was really important to me, that my children would have, and he took it all away. And he took my elder daughter's name as his middle name. How about that?
Do you think you like that name? Did he suggest that
No,
name
it's
for
just
your
his
daughter?
initial began with the same initial, so he thought, having no imagination. And what he also knew was that I was named after an aunt who had died when she was 21, and I was a disappointment to my grandparents because I wasn't like her. And so it's very important to me that the children had their own names, their own character, and weren't named after anyone, so they could be themselves. And then he took her name. Boundaries didn't exist, did they? Anyway, he went on to get married.
To a man or a woman?
To a self-styled queer lesbian woman.
Okay. Doesn't sound much of a lesbian to me.
No, but apparently she is, and it's all queer this and queer that. That's the in things, isn't it? Which, when I was young, I always thought. Well, I had in London. I had a young gay man who worked for me, and I used to panic about him because it was the time of AIDS, and he would go out, and he was a bit prone to going out with various people. I think it was called a rent boy or something. I used to panic for him. And queer was a slur, absolute
Yeah.
slur. And I've always been, I've never had a problem with anybody gay. I've always thought they've got their rights, and that's wonderful, fine, lovely. But then they're not abusing me. And it's the fact that if you're open and honest, that's one thing too. But when you're trans, there's another level. You can't change sex. It
You
it
can't.
it's not the same as having a preference.
So yeah, what you're saying is it's not the same as being gay or lesbian.
No, that's a sexual preference. And if you're open and honest, I'm not even interested. I don't care. But it doesn't matter if you're deceitful and marry someone when your preference is different. Then it becomes abusive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was delighted. I've always stood
So
up for gay rights. He didn't. I did. Interesting, isn't it?
yeah.
And I feel now
So
I was
how
never
long
taught about boundaries or, I was easy meat, really.
were you with him before you split up?
It was about 15 years.
And how was that for you?
A nightmare. The health centre tried to help me, sort of. Some of them were lovely, but I remember complaining to one of the doctors there that my daughter had said that, I'd been told they had to see him, or I was ruining their lives. So they would go and see him. Or I should say he moved out. The psychiatrist came to my door and said, "Has he gone?" So I was never sure whether the psychiatrist was trying to help me or help him, but I think maybe me.
Yeah, how long after you found out did he move out?
Don't know.
Was it a while or was it not
No, it
very
wasn't that
long?
long. No, I knew then. I couldn't bear to be. That was it. We kept in touch more or less friendly like for a bit, but we had to somehow manage the children and him. But one of my daughters complained he was running around in his underwear when she was there.
Oh
And she
dear.
didn't like it, girls together thing. And so I complained to the
Yeah.
doctor and said, this won't do, this is not good. And she said, "I can't discuss another patient. But I will tell you, cosmetically it's very good." This was after the op. And I thought, thank you. You have just discussed your other patient, have you not? Oh no, he went for the op as soon as possibly could. In fact, I got the final divorce papers the day before he had the operation.
Okay.
I told them that if I didn't get it that day, I was going to top myself because I really couldn't cope. And he went off to Brighton and had the full shebang.
But you were sort of separated for quite a long time by the sounds of it.
I went for 2 years separation. You see, this is what I was trying to say about wanting to be quiet. Doing this is a huge thing for me. I don't
Yeah, it
like
is.
photos. I don't like being public. I didn't want a big divorce. I just wanted it to disappear. So I did 2 years separation to keep it quiet. My nightmare was ending up in
Yeah.
a press release or something like that. And here I am. What can you say? But I feel I
Yeah,
have
you
to
are on the
stand up for other
podcast.
women. If we all
I
stay
know.
silent and people don't realize that it's not just this benign, "Oh dear, I've just realized that I think I'm in the wrong body." How can you be in the wrong body?
Yeah. We need to get to the point where society's aware of what's going on because they're calling these men stunning and brave, aren't they?
Oh, very.
And
I
and they
think
don't
trying to
realise the
breastfeed,
abuse behind the
when we went to hospital, I had nobody else to go with me. Nobody helped me. Baby was obviously premature. That's a surprise. Went to the hospital. I had nobody else to take me or go with me. He was there. And when they called me, I do remember that they called me by my married name, come to the room or whatever. He grinned and stood up. Here I am. He had that little narcissistic grin, I think it is. When something went his way, he'd go, Mm.
What, as if it was like him giving birth?
Yeah.
It, like, when they called him? That's weird.
When I had a girl, there was standing room only, by the way. I think the psychiatrist was there. Certainly they were all panicked because I was giving birth under these terrible situations. And when it
Oh,
was
so
a
they were
girl, they
worried.
said, thank God for that, whatever that might mean.
Why? That's an odd thing to say. So you had two girls.
Mm. When I first met
Yeah.
him, an interesting thing that I've never heard anyone mention it, but I heard it recently. But until recently, I never heard. When I first met him, he would sit to pee on the toilet. And he said, I'm more comfortable. It never occurred to me that that was a red flag. Why would it?
Well, no, some men do sit down.
But that was part of it, that he hated his.
Yeah.
I remember his mother kept saying it was a time of long hair. He had curly hair, so it was to his shoulder. It wasn't like some men. And I used to think she'd go on and on about cutting his hair, and now I know why, of course. I didn't at the time realize why it was so important to her. But she was thinking he's doing that. She was panicked that he would have an effect on his sister rather than on me and spoil her life chances. I was an afterthought. She came up when the
Why would he
baby was
spoil his
born.
sister's chances, though?
Well, she was much younger than him, and everybody revolved around her. And not her fault at all, of course. But she was always panicked that they would think because he had this, that she'd be seen as strange. What happened to me didn't matter. He also tried to
But
breastfeed
you
the
were the
baby.
mother of our grandchildren? Or did he?
I complained to the doctors about that as well. And here is the reply. I'm not making this up. It sounds so, it must be. I was told, well, in some countries, where the woman isn't, and sometimes men can breastfeed because, and I'm going, no, they can't. And they're all gaslighting me and thinking, well, it's not so terrible, it's perfectly fine. I'm thinking, but it is. It's not right.
No, it isn't. That's horrendous.
That's
Having
the
a new baby and having your husband try and feed the baby.
And I know for a fact, because somebody I know was at the same do as him, when he was out and about and I was at home with a prim baby and a toddler and he's waltzing around in his dresses or whatever. He was at something that somebody I know was at, and somebody said, and he said, oh yes, I've got a baby. So he was the mother. Yeah. That must have surprised them. So it's the
It's
whole
not good.
shebang, isn't it? This is what they do.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to feel sorry for him, and now he's his authentic self. Are you sure that's what we should be saying?
Not according to me, I don't think so.
And so brave he was. His boss at university said, it's always the university, isn't it? Said, oh, aren't you fortunate? You spent all this time as a man, now you can spend the rest. Oh, good for you.
The thing is, though, he did model himself on you by the sounds of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you showed me that video.
Yeah, he copies my mannerisms, everything. The inflection
That
of my
must be
voice.
really unnerving.
I find that really creepy, and I can't think about that too much. It's too upsetting. It's a doppelganger. It's horrible.
Yeah, because we met in Glasgow and you showed me a video and I thought it was you. Because you didn't say anything, you just showed me and I was like, is that you? And you said no, and I was like, oh my goodness, that was awful.
Yeah.
That must be really creepy.
His wife has left him now. They stayed together a long time. They had a little gay wedding and my daughters both went to it. And as soon as she left him, he started trying to get back in contact with me. I'd love to take you out to dinner. I'm sorry I fucked up your
Contacted
life.
you? Goodness.
You know, that's sort of, you know, please, I would love to be in touch. He's apparently in touch with one of my daughters. I don't know. One of our daughters. My nightmare was to be a single parent. I'm also totally heterosexual. It's a fact. It's not good, bad, or indifferent. I just happen to be. But I am. So the whole thing was a nightmare.
Well, the thing is, though, you don't turn into a lesbian just because he says he's
No,
he's not a man anymore,
but I
because he's still a
realised,
man.
but in his mind I was, and that's really, really creepy. It's the whole thing is creepy. It's like disappearing, and it wasn't. I'm not to blame, but when I look back, I think I put up with too much, and I think I was never taught about boundaries. I should never have accepted. I mean, the first boundary was going to the wrong place when we'd agreed something. And then going to university and having to move because of him, and his parents were vociferous. Anyway, when the baby was born, mother and father turned up on my doorstep in Edinburgh. They didn't say they were coming. They didn't ask me if it was okay. And for some reason, they went and stayed in a hotel and wouldn't tell me where they were in case of, I don't know what I was going to do. Anyway, they turned up and they took him out to dinner and had a long discussion. And she sent me a transcription. She wrote everything down on a piece of paper and sent it to me about what they said and how and why once they got home. Because what happened was they came round and they'd not seen the baby before. And his father went out to get some shopping and she was with me. And she hadn't been very nice to my mother and said that my mother was distraught too. And I said, you know, you should, you know, should really get on with my mother. It's not nice or something. Something like that. Exact words, of course, I don't remember. Anyway, I do remember what she did then. She said, I knew you'd hate me. Burst into tears, ran down the street, making an exhibition of herself, went to their car, which was parked nowhere near my flat, obviously in case I did something, I don't know what. She refused to come back. I talked to his father for ages, said, look, please just come back. You know, this is not good. And they left, and I've never seen them since.
It's odd.
And when they got home, they sent me a transcription of everything that was said, and one of her
Why did they
sisters
do
sat
that?
and wrote a letter saying, what about your sister? How could you do this to us and her? And joy. As an afterthought.
Odd.
I
It
didn't
doesn't make
stop her
sense.
seeing them, but I was hardly going to rush down to see them, was I, after that? And they never
Yeah.
said they wanted to see us or they wanted. No, that was the end of that. It was all about her and him. And I never have used the wrong pronoun. And I still won't.
So you won't call him she.
No, I never have. And when the kids see her, when the kids were around and saw him, I'd say, you're going to see your father. But they would co-opt him into, he would get them to buy, you know, feminine things to him. I wasn't playing that game. Not a chance. It was abuse. It's abuse. It's full-scale abuse. As I pointed out, he knew from the beginning it wasn't You know, people say, "Oh, you're now your authentic self." No, you was your authentic self all along, wasn't it? What I got was his inauthentic self.
He pretended. He couldn't leave
And he's
easily.
lonely now, which is why I've had the odd thing like, here's a bit of nostalgia for you to look at. Somewhere we'd been, you know? I'm thinking, no, I don't think so. I don't reply.
Yeah.
I sit on my own, but I'm
But he
quite
gets
happy.
in touch with you.
My dog's better
Yeah.
company.
Yeah. You fond of your dog?
I have never told all that to anybody. I've told bits to people.
Have you not?
I'm
Yeah.
quite open and honest that I'm now what's now called a trans widow. I'm open and honest about that. If people ask, I have no problem saying that. But
Yeah.
I stay mostly on my own with my dog.
Is that to avoid anybody hurting you again?
I don't know. I'm quite content with my dog.
Okay.
And my children don't speak with me anymore. So
Was that because of him or?
I don't know entirely. I mean, I wasn't perfect
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
I did go on and
Well,
get a
nobody's
job and
perfect.
worked, but I did my best, but obviously it wasn't good enough. It was hard.
I think having that going on in your family's gonna make a big difference
But I
to
mean, being a
how
single
you
parent is hard.
interact
People
with each
don't
other.
realise how hard
Yeah.
everything is
Yeah.
your problem. The paperwork, the bills, everything is no respite. You're not free anymore, are you? But I did it with love. I mean, I don't think I was perfect. If you show me a perfect parent, I will be surprised. Um,
Yeah. Well, there's no such thing as a perfect parent.
I mean,
I brought my children up on my own as well, and I met my husband, who's my husband now, after, like when I was still a single parent, and I used to worry about being a good parent, and he would say to me, "There's no such thing as a good parent. There's just a good enough parent." But you never feel like you've done enough,
yeah,
even when you've done everything you possibly can. It is difficult.
it just added another layer. I couldn't, I kept in touch with him for a bit because of the girl.
Yeah,
But when they were older, I could be freer, and I am now. And I haven't spoken to him in years.
yeah. No, you've got no reason to now.
No, I have no reason to. I really don't want to. But it goes round in your head sometimes. It's such a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it's all those years of keeping it to yourself and not being able to speak about it because you didn't know anybody who'd been through.
No,
What have you been through?
the worst thing is that when you do tell someone, you don't necessarily get a reaction you're expecting, should I say.
What kind of reactions do you
I
get?
get things like they're very interested in him, or didn't you know, or nonplussed. People don't seem to understand it's abuse.
Yeah.
And I hate the phrase, they're now their authentic self. I can't bear it.
No. Well, he's not if he's copying of what you look like and
Exactly.
how your mannerisms. That's not him, that's you.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm speaking now because his parents are dead. And I don't want to I'm not doing it with malice.
No. You just want to be heard.
Well, I really want other people to know that if somebody else is in my situation, that it's not what they think. It's not. And if anybody wants, I'm here and I will understand.
I just wanted to take a moment to speak directly to the women listening who might be struggling in silence. So maybe you're living with the fallout of a husband or partner who's suddenly decided he's a woman, leaving you feeling confused, coerced, or even pressured into things you never consented to. Maybe you're a mother with a daughter or a son who now says they're trans, and you're carrying the heartbreak of that loss without anyone around you really understanding. Or maybe you've been cancelled, silenced, or bullied in your workplace, in your family, or even online, and you're left questioning your reality, your confidence, and your sense of self. If any of that sounds familiar, I just want you to know that you're not alone, and you don't have to keep pushing through it on your own strength, because that's exactly why I offer counselling for women. It's a private, safe, and non-judgmental space where you can say the unsayable. And I know how hard it can be to put words to feelings of betrayal, grief, or anger, especially when the world around you just wants you to be quiet. In our sessions, you'll be heard, believed, and supported without judgment. My work is grounded in person-centered counselling, but I also bring in other tools like inner child work, trauma-informed approaches, and relational models to help you uncover what's really going on beneath the surface. Together we'll explore how the past is shaping the present, untangle the dynamics of coercive or narcissistic relationships, and give you space to grieve losses that others might dismiss or deny. The women that I work with often tell me that our sessions give them clarity, strength, and the ability to start making decisions that honour their own needs, sometimes for the first time in years. And so whether you're trying to rebuild after coercion, come to terms with ambiguous loss, or simply reconnect with who you are, therapy can be the place where you start to feel like yourself again. And I offer a free, no obligation consultation so that you can see if working together feels like the right fit. There's no pressure, just a chance to talk about what you need and how I might be able to help. You can find out more at kellyoliverdougall.co.uk. You deserve a space where you are truly heard, and if this speaks to you, I'd be honoured to walk alongside you on your journey of healing and strength. Yeah. How long did it take you to find other trans widows?
Oh, oh. Well, there wasn't any internet at that point, remember.
Yeah,
I tried to set up support by phone or whatever, it was impossible. It was just too tricky.
yeah,
Now, when did I
yeah,
first oh, so long after it was it to the first one, maybe?
yeah.
But
And she's a long way away.
even then, I'm not good at technology, you know that. But I have no need to be generally, you see.
Yeah.
You know,
But
I'm
were you in the film?
sorry.
Were you in the film?
Yes, I'm trying to think who I first came across. I'm not one for writing screeds online particularly. Um, I just I don't do this with malice or revenge or anything else. I just feel that people don't understand. And this it's
No, I
become
don't think you've said anything spiteful or
well,
anything like that. You've just told how it was and how it felt.
it's just so become commonplace and I mean I've been to Kelly J. Keen's things, three meetings. I went to Edinburgh and twice in Glasgow.
Yeah,
And
that's where we met.
yeah, and people, there's all these people screaming and yelling and being totally obnoxious and vile and violent. I mean, the first Edinburgh
Edinburgh was
one, we had the
horrific.
furries out, for goodness sake.
Yeah,
We were kept well apart,
Edinburgh was really bad.
but somehow
Yeah, yeah, that was, yeah,
they're all screaming and yelling and being obnoxious. And everybody's cheering them on, saying, you know, you're trans, you're queer, you're wonderful, I'm thinking, no, you're not. You're bullied. Out and
yeah,
out. And, you know, talking about your sexual preferences and how many, you know, different genders there are is absolute
yeah,
I mean, I don't go around talking about I'm not a prude. I just don't think it's appropriate to go around discussing. It's a private, wonderful thing if you love someone. You don't need to
Yeah.
broadcast to the world. I said some of the acronyms, the LGBT, etc. Some of them are nonsensical.
Yeah.
My sexual orientation is that I don't have one. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's an interesting.
Well, why do you need to tell everyone though? That's the thing. That's what I want to know.
Well, this is what I can't understand. It's sort of showing off. It's to do with having an internet, really, where you can do this sort of thing. That's part of.
Yeah. Do you think that made it worse when the internet came in?
Yes, because they found each other and they didn't want to be left out. I'm in your gang, and these stuffy heterosexual middle-aged women. Oh my God. It's a bit like Ricky Gervais' joke about, those sorts of women, those boring ones, those dinosaurs. We're not interested
The
in that.
old-fashioned ones.
And yeah, I mean, it's nonsense. It's very, if it didn't have a dangerous aspect to it, which it does, it's very it's
Yeah, it is.
it's the sort of thing you snigger
Because,
around when you're early teens. You go, oh,
yeah,
but now they do it the other way, and they can't stop talking about it. But most of it is just total and utter.
yeah, they do.
Just
They talk a lot about it. And then they accuse us of talking about genitals all the time when that's not what we talk about. We're not interested in that.
do you know what? He gives me nightmares about when
Does he?
I'm trying not to, but when I think, for instance, Jazz Jennings, I've cried over that many.
That's really hard to watch.
It just. And this young person, he's always talking about his genitals, and his mother saying, I'll dilate. Oh, by the way,
That's really horrible clip.
when my children were older and weren't in that, they were one of
Yeah,
them volunteered that he had a speculum in the bathroom they used to play. If I had known that at that time, I would have definitely.
yeah, that is not
It's not
healthy.
appropriate.
No, not at all.
I mean, you don't do parents. Well, maybe they do. Going on talking about this. Don't think. I don't think
Not to
kids
their
want.
children. No,
They want to be.
absolutely not. Yeah,
And a lot are not children anymore. There's all this. You're a boy and you change your pronouns. It's all too serious instead of being young and having fun, enjoying the world and nature and everything else. I'm okay now. I walk.
do you?
I don't go out much. I gave up my car. I realized that I could get out more if I have it. But most of the time I was looking at it and paying to look at it because it's so expensive these. And I thought, well,
Yeah,
we'll just walk everywhere. We've got plenty of places to walk. And I meet
yeah,
people as I go. And because I have plenty of people that I can talk to.
yeah.
So I'm not sitting here crying into my whatever water.
No,
But I just feel that if we all don't, then people will go on with these weird ideas and they don't realize what's behind all this. It sounds very, you've discovered yourself. and you're so brave, and it's so good to be authentic. And this is what authentic looks like. You abuse
Well, that's not authentic to me.
well, it isn't. It's sort of
No,
sanitized,
it's
and all the
really,
I mean, trans men, for God's all those I've got a wonderful turf library. I decided what I do. My mother used to laugh at me. If I was happy, I'd read. If I was unhappy, I'd read. So during lockdown, I read a huge amount of all these. And I remember going back to the
yeah,
first trans man and what happened. And it's so obvious when you read his story that he was, and I'm saying because it's so long ago, I suppose, but it is really.
yeah,
She was obviously a lesbian. They didn't
yeah. She was identifying out of her sex. She didn't want to be a woman.
because
So you get a lot of
they'd
attention
accept
as
her
a
turning
woman.
up looking like a man, but they didn't accept her being a lesbian. Yeah, that was tragic.
Yeah,
She was very young when she died. She died as a monk, actually, in India or somewhere. But she was the first one got the false penis. You know, the roll up bit of
the phalloplasty.
because they were helping men who had been injured in war, and that's how you worked out how you could model things. It was meant to help you,
Goodness.
not to validate what they.
Yeah,
And they had pedicules then, but now they take great big skin graft. Oh God, it's vile.
yeah. I've seen the pictures. They're not nice, are they?
But if a child is told they can do this and then they regret it, look at the regretters. Some for them, there's
I
no
know.
going back. I mean, the best result is that you have a low voice, you've grown breasts when you shouldn't, but that's the best result. Some of them are
Absolutely. That Richie Herron has really suffered
yes. What
and
about the girl
continues
who
to.
went in front of I forget her name.
I don't think, no, I don't think I know about her.
What happened was they convinced her that's what she was, and she went ahead, and then she couldn't cope and stood in front of. She's.
It's awful.
I speak out because I watch all this, and I get very depressed watching all this,
Well, yes,
and it's not affecting me directly. It's just I'm a human, and what I see and what I hear is very just.
it is very disturbing. And it's something that you've been through yourself, so
But not a
you know it's
patch on,
disturbing.
not a patch on people, young people who are going through.
Don't know, I think there's something about being coerced and manipulated by your partner and your husband.
Well, yes, it is time that people remember this is a long time, and it's still there. It's affect.
Yeah. But
It,
you're still thinking about it now?
yeah, it doesn't just.
You're still going to events about it?
But I just think the whole thing is,
Definitely is.
and I do agree with you. I think people, instead of saying to women whose husbands do, oh, they've got their authentic self, or aren't they sunny and brave? Perhaps they should turn it on its head and say, how could you be such an
Yeah.
but nobody says.
I think I
I've
think that
never
would be
heard
powerful, wouldn't it?
I've never heard anybody say to me, I'm sorry that happened to you. Um How abusive was that? Nothing like, to be honest. No.
No one's ever said that to you. Well, I'm really sorry that that's happened to you. And that was abusive.
I mean, I can talk to people. I'm holding it back. I can talk to you now dispassionately, so,
Yeah,
but I'll suffer this off.
that's not good.
And then you wish you'd seen the first sign and got out then.
Yeah. You've got a lot of regrets, but you didn't know.
No, the
You've got to be kind to yourself.
red
Yeah,
flags show up retrospect. None of them
of
were obvious
course.
at the time. I mean, even the first time, I'd only been married weeks when he was putting his makeup. But even that, it had a logic. And he was obviously embarrassed. Men were acting pop stars and long hair and makeup. And I thought, yeah, you're bored, you don't know what.
Of course, I remember the 80s. So I was growing up in the 80s, and yeah, all the pop stars had makeup on
So it was logical.
and
And
long hair.
what I took for embarrassment, I think, was, but I didn't understand the difference.
Yeah.
And
I think we still don't know very much about shame.
no, but that's the look now. And now, I don't know if people see him as a woman or not. Maybe not. But I don't. I pick out loads. I
I don't think anybody believes he's a woman.
I don't believe lots of people. Uh, I, but everybody's so kind and, oh, poor thing, and we must shelter them. It must be awful to feel like it's got nothing to do with pornography. A lot of it.
It absolutely has. Yeah.
Yes, he did have the magazine dandy. I mean, that's not, I wish I was the opposite sex. That's a fetish.
Yeah.
And the fetish word is very rarely, because that's not as nice as, oh dear, you're not in the right, you're not your authentic. If you turn it around
I
and
use
say,
the word fetish a lot.
I don't know what else I can tell you, really. I've doubtless missed
Yeah.
things. I've had 2 sleepless nights before I spoke to you.
Have you really?
Mm.
It's really sad to hear that it's brought all that up. Have you got
Oh, it's
some
never far off.
ways to look after yourself?
What I was trying to do was get it to be coherent instead of a rambling.
Yeah, it was.
Because what
I
happens
understood what you were saying.
under stress, you start to wander, which I did. But I was trying
Yeah.
less like that.
Yeah.
Make
Well, Joy, it's been lovely speaking to you. Shall we stop there?
yes. Also,
Yeah.
my best friend is needing. Do you want to say hello to my
Well,
best?
you can't ignore your dog. Has he come over?
Mihai, come on. Here he is. Yeah, let's go meet me. He's beautiful. Mihai.
Oh, there he is. Hello.
He's a big dog. Oh, he's having.
Good. Right, Joy, I'm going to stop recording now, okay?
Yeah, he's a